interact with you if you don't treat them like objects. Women will interact with you if you don't treat them like completely different species.
He's partly
That's the problem. Men who complain about this male loneliness epidemic
are lonely.
treat women like people.
Who said?
They somehow see them as objects, or they treat them as something to be attained, but there is no male loneliness epidemic.
That's cutting me
It's
false.
your behavior
Fuck you.
that causes women to steer clear of their review. So if you think it's a problem, change your behavior.
Yeah?
That's it.
Okay,
Any guy
okay,
would.
bud. The time for niceties is over, and I'm going to go devil's prosecutor on you. You're the devil, parentheses. You blonde goober.
If you believe truly that there's a male loneliness epidemic, let me tell you, you are wrong.
First of all, statistics would disagree with you, and that's not a gendered matter. Loneliness is an epidemic. Like in modern society, it is at an all-time high.
Watching this video, I need you to listen to me very closely.
Oh, no.
Okay. So it is an epidemic.
I mean, the video.
And I don't want to be one of those people like the science would say, but it does though.
Let me have our video.
And if not science, the raw numbers.
Slip past me, dude. Completely didn't realize. God damn it, he did the bird hands, bro.
Why? It's all over, Dojo. Didn't have brother. And if not that, the intuitive, spiritual, inner felt sense that something's seriously wrong here.
Yeah, joke on me, dude. I use logical arguments against a bird hand user, man.
I don't care that no one's going to see this. This is so perturbing. And I take so many issues with this. It's on the principle. Fundamentally. So I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to dissect it little by little.
I told any guy watching this, any man watching this video, I need you to listen to me very closely. If you believe truly that there's a male loneliness epidemic, let me tell you, you are wrong.
You're so confidently wrong, baby girl. What the fuck?
There is no hidden agenda pushed against you. There is no secret cabal of women actively preying on your downfall.
Hold on. That's true. I just want to say that, get that out of the way. There's no cabal. There might be a tiny. No, there's 1% of people are psychopaths. Well, but they're not. There's not that many of them, and they're very vehement and zealous in their ideology. But there are women who are preying on guys' downfalls. It's actually sickening what some of these people say. They might be that 1% of psychopaths.
No male loneliness epidemic, because it's not an epidemic. It is simply a reflection of men's behavior and how they treat women. Because I promise you, with any man watching this video, I need you to listen to me very closely.
First of all, don't ever pull that shit.
Like, get your act together, bud. Come on, dog. We can do that. We can...
That was the most Machiavellian, like, underhanded thing that you could ever do for any man watching this with this, like, sincere facade on your face, dude. Like, he's gonna speak to you. He's gonna try to connect with you on a human, like a women level. Again, women should be treated as humans because it's weird to be on the receiving end of not treated as that. And it's just the right thing to do. But you're gonna come here almost like, yeah, I'm gonna level with you, bro. I'm gonna give you some heart to heart, and then you just rip whomsoever apart. Can you imagine someone who's an introvert, someone who just like doesn't get along well with people, and you're gonna say, nah, dude, it's your behavior. You're a sick fuck. Like, hello? You don't. He says he's neurodivergent. I believe him, but how in the hell are you gonna side with the crowd and the social consensus over like who someone really is, bro? So to pretend that that isn't the case and to just selectively tune it to men is short-sighted and narrow-minded, and it invalidates by proxy and association any women who struggle with social ostracization or even who are like socially skilled extroverts, but they just can't connect because we're in this like fucked up digital age. The loss of third spaces is not only a problem with the dating market, but it is a serious issue for your own personal networking and the sense of community that we need. You know, like food.
There is no male loneliness epidemic because it's not an epidemic. It is simply a reflection of men's behavior and how they treat women.
Oh, you know what? Furthermore, not like any way, but why are you assuming it's not the homies that we're lacking too? You didn't take into account that women can steer clear of you just because they don't find you attractive. It's not some character flaw. You're just not odd. So like, get the fuck out of Dodge, bro. What do you mean? You're a retarded.
So if you think it's a problem, change your behavior.
Being putting ourselves in the shoes of a woman, like, yeah, humanize me, please. Like, I get that. That's hey. But there's a positivistic element to women that he's entirely overlooking. Men, it's not what they look up to, but in a way, like you do, like I wish I had a house and a dog and kids and a family. It's like this ideal you look up to, and you're like, wow, I wish I'll strive towards that. I think it's bad and wrong to take a guy who's having a little mini panic attack in his brain when a cute girl speaks to him. He is treating her like she's not human. But like I said, it's like a unicorn. It's like, oh my god, dude, she's talking to me. And again, neuropsychologically, we know that women make men self-conscious, and when men don't like them, that's part of the reason why. Like, who wants to feel self-conscious? Like, dang, dude, I'm insufficient. She doesn't want me. I'm a failure. That actually inspires a lot of growth. It's sort of, but we like the women. We're mad that we can't interact with them because we like them, dude. It's the opposite of what you said. Who are you talking to? Are you talking to Andrew Tate? Because he doesn't give a fuck, dude. And he's out here just being generally terrible. Like, he insulted skaters and gamers and then played Smash Bros. By the way, I'd wipe him. But the women are mostly, primarily, mistreated by men who are players. Sigmas, red pill based bros, pump and dump and leave for self-esteem in the fucking gallows. And it's absolutely appalling, truly viewing women as an object, like just like almost like a joint you can smoke. There's this thing that's gonna make me feel better for the night. And those men are secure and they don't care. They're bordering on or explicitly are psychopathic. They don't care about your backlashing at them because they don't have shame. They don't feel remorse. And if they do, it's very muted. I don't want to just brush past and discount the fact that there are some men who treat women horribly. And I would say, yeah, there's no shadow government of women trying to manufacture the male loneliness epidemic. It actually impacts women too because they're having a hard time finding loving partners, and it sucks. So kind of the backlash against pathology has become itself pathological. They're not conspiring to prey on your downfall, but they are opportunists. Put some blood in the water and the sharks will come. You see a depressed man and you hate men? I'm going to now project that onto you. And I'm going to say, yeah, you should do it. Because I just hate men. That doesn't hurt the men you hate, and maybe rightfully so. But it does hurt. What Danny did is he attacked the men who desperately want a healthy connection with women, but just struggle to do that. The men who are getting interaction with women tend to do it in a way that isn't nice to them. They don't care what you think, Danny. All you do is come after the poor losers, fundamentally. Okay, also, by the way, there are some incels who are deplorable, dude. Like, your thinking is definitely twisted and broken. But incels are like a vast minority of the community, you know? Their thinking is broken so hard that it makes them functionally resemble someone who's just broken as how they relate to other people, and specifically the opposite sex. Like, they're just as bad as the women who see a depressed guy unrelated to their personal experiences and say, yeah, do it. Like, dude, not all women are evil. And maybe, in some cases, get good, dude. Like, take a shower, homie, right? I've been depressed and not showered for, I'm not even gonna admit how long, but, you know, I'm doing better now. But I don't like suddenly, I'm not suddenly answering Megamind with a yes. Like, no, dude, I don't have any. And I don't think you should call them that. Because another thing is, women are really picky, dude. And they're also socially mean. A man will just backhand the hell out of you. Getting your self-esteem, like, that's mine now. And I don't want it, it's gone, baby. Bathwater, window aided, dude. Because it can be hard to not turn resentful. And that's why some incels do it, when they should be working on themselves. But even if you work on yourself, some people are just bitter and socially awful towards others. So if a woman does it to you, men will commit the same fallacy that I said women will. They'll generalize and villainize and demonize, dehuman a whole group of people based off their negative experiences with one significant, like, neurologically and training encounter, like Pavlov with conditioning of dogs, yeah. Like, are there some guys who are a little gross or broken in their thinking towards women and have moderate amounts of success, and then when they don't, they want to put it on women? Hell yeah. Maybe, dude, 20%. And guys, unfortunately, we're just visual and we're thirsty, so like we do tend to objectify women that they're just inept. Yeah, let's just start cruelly bullying introverts and autistic people and depressed people and anxious and schizophrenic people because they deserve it. You're an a-hole, dude, who thinks he's doing the right thing too. Why are there those 20%? Because on the whole, people are bad at thinking. That's why. The men who want and long for love and seek to give it,
They don't deserve your criticism, nor should they care what you think. Oh no, your opinion. Why would it matter to me? Why would I pretend to give you any heft at all?
The guys who are really doing women dirty, they're the ones getting action. They're the ones getting attention. Because they have certain traits that are sometimes, usually before she has a lot of life experience, considered attractive because they look good. If you're a narcissist, bro, it's gonna seem like you have your life together, even though you're a lying monster. And I think, first of all, I didn't close that tangent. This is dripping with liberal cult ideology. As I said, I'm no conservative, dude. I actually quite don't like them inherently. I want to be free to explore. I don't want to delay my gratification. I want to work hard. What's up? How you doing? I haven't seen. Anyway, dude. Moving on. But I said in my short about this, basically, dude. It'd be better to be possessed by a demon. Because like you're so. What's up, Henry? Hope you guys are doing out there. Actually, dude, Scotland's pretty crazy, man. I only met one guy. Back to
Something different. Something not human. That's either they treat them like objects, or they treat them as something to be attained, but there is no male.
Okay, so I think he is kind of misunderstanding this. First of all, based in the actually based way, right? You know, oh, like this thing is based. Carl Jung is actually based. So, man, Danny, here, I think he has a misunderstanding. If you're looking at the most common kind of male behavior, as far as treating women like not like humans, basically, dude, you could say that in a negative sense, as in like misogynistic or aggressive or objectifying or demeaning. That's all valid. You know, that's broken and pathologized in society too. And as I was kind of getting into just the general social dynamics and loneliness as such, it's out of control. It's not good, and things are not okay in the least. So when it comes to women, it's like they idolize them actually. Like I actually highly value her. And neuroscientifically speaking, yeah, no, it probably is. You know, I want to know who, you know, by who, other than just the reptilians, dude, or the Jews, like, bro. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm not saying that these things are impossible, but it does feel so malicious, doesn't it? That it would have to be like the lizard people. Because like, who the hell, who has a heart or human soul would do this? What in God's name are your motivations for let's just say this is kind of Jason, but like you'll own nothing and be happy. Like, why do you want that, dude? With Epstein, bro, why would you eat them? What the fuck, man? It just doesn't even make sense. I guess you're nihilistic or like living like the Joker, man. But honestly, first of all, just while this is in my mind, this is the most Murray thing to ever say, dude. You think that you're not, you think that you're gonna be the Joker, but you're doing the thing that the exact kind of conservatives that they do on me, where they kind of finger like, hey, you shouldn't do that. You know, it's very patronizing, and you're acting like you're so much better. When really you're just attacking people who are in distress. You know, loneliness kills more than smoking, and smoking kills quite a bit. So it's just hold on, let me, bro, my short-term memory's back because my jugular veins getting crushed right now.
Something not human. That's either they treat
So yeah, that's sort of how you're treating everybody. I don't know, I lost my train of thought. It's like I'm stoned without any of the fun upsides. Sometimes men dehumanize women because they idolize them and they don't know how to talk to them as a human being, and that's actually one of the most reassuring things that a woman can receive, and it's one of the most alleviating, like pickup artist things you can ever do. Like just talk to her like she's a human. Like, do you think she's actually a goddess? So anyways, overlooking that, Dodge, bro, what do you mean? You're a retarded.
So if you think it's a problem, change your behavior.
Taking responsibility and accepting like radical necessity of your own action, right? Like it was either Solzhenitsyn or Kierkegaard or Dostoevsky. I know, dude, I understand Rick and Morty. Wow, this guy, he knows who to quote. But he basically said, I think that every man is responsible for everything that him and every other person does. And technically that's the most unfair but also noble and morally righteous burden you could ever place on yourself. And it's the best way to act when you think about it. But that's, okay, let's be for real, that's not where he's coming from. That is not the sentiment that this originated in. He's being a dick for no reason and he knows it. So now I'm gonna get a little more before I go drink my freaking tea that I despise. So basically, I've lost all respect for him, dude. Because I thought he was a better, I thought he was a more good faith actor rather than a bad faith actor than he is, and then he's proving this. And he's asserting adherence to an ideology. And male feminism, which I said in my short, is gross. You know, because it's like, why, dude? Why are you? It's not that you're a traitor to your gender. Because you're trying to help the women, and it's a zero-sum game where either they win or we do. No, you're a traitor to your gender because you're only saying that and hating your gender because they're that way. That is literally prejudice. That is actually what all of the greatest crimes and persecutions throughout history were founded in. And you're here pretending that you're some egalitarian social justice warrior when you're an absolute hypocrite. He makes videos talking about like, here's all the ways that I can say I'm going to cancel my subscription without actually saying it. Okay, first of all, you need to be really careful when you're talking about mental illness topics like that. Those are heavy. You can't just put that out there. You shouldn't be finding some cute, quirky, algorithmically friendly way to put it out there. It's serious and it should be handled as such. And men are dying, right? Because I've been there, okay? And you act like you are. And if you are, you're betraying mentally ill people as well. I don't even think mentally ill is a good term for it. But you know, psychiatrically or mentally and emotionally distressed. You know what that's like, allegedly. And you're sitting here patronizing and berating us for it? You ain't shit, dude. So I was gonna say I'm gonna unsubscribe to him, because I thought he was kind of cool. All the funny memes, all the relatable content, all that had, that was a good one, dude. That's out the window. I think I'm gonna stay subscribed to every video. I'm gonna hit not just it. You know, and I'll bring out some side because this is pouring, bro. I'm not motivated to normally do shit like that. But that's the strongest algorithmic signal I can set to shut you down, man. Maybe I should just relax because it's not gonna make a drop of water in the ocean. But maybe just on the principle, potentially. Maybe on my interviews. But I said something really sincere in a long speech, and she agreed with it. And I'm like, this speech is about reducing human suffering. There's more humans than there's ever been, like, in history. So on account of that, we're all suffering more. Suffering is an all-time high because the problems that come with being human are inherent to that. And so I think that's the most important thing. And I was able to set aside my minor differences with her. It's like, oh my god, dude, you're doing this again? Why, dude? To find that common ground. That's entirely lacking here. It's not psychopathy. As far as I'm aware, I don't think Danny Phantom EXE, the YouTuber, bro, I don't think he's a psychopath. I don't think this is his supposed autism and lack of empathy. I think you're deliberately going out of your way, or you're so utterly caught up in this thought process that you've turned into a tribal warfare enjoyer. And you are literally a traitor. It doesn't mean that women don't need to be better off. It does mean if you're going to play the mentally ill card online, if you really knew what that was like, you wouldn't come to people who are suffering, ostracized, lonely. Every time they turn and look at a woman, they are being nice and respectful, and they're getting, oh, really? Wait, I don't know what that fully means. TikTok's saying how the boyfriend's cringe. Yeah, we're gonna go extinct. Yeah, no, microplastics make goldfish go infertile in 3 generations. It doesn't happen right away. Guess what? It was the mini Epstein thing. Okay, so I'm selling top state dumb. Yeah, okay, now I get what you're saying. Advertising, working in women's marketing, it's fundamentally anti-human. And you shouldn't really be surprised. Like, I don't think that being fundamentally anti-life is a good way to get there. Because I do think that all those people deserve restorative justice. So many grandmas, dude, so many innocent babies, so many puppies, dude. If we don't do anything, they're suffering, they're rendered correct, and they've been fed to the serpent that liked it, and then killed itself at the end of time by heat death of the universe. Or, even in theological terms, a lot of people are going to go to hell, allegedly. So that's not good either, is it? Not unless there's like a way to get out of it. This is kind of dark, man. If you've ever been there, where you're looking at yourself in this freaking mirror, dude, and you're looking and saying, oh, that guy has more say over whether I live or die than anyone else. He's more dangerous to me than someone in the street I could at least fight off by a knife too. And you're thinking, that's me. I'm betraying myself. I'm worthless. That guy, he can't be here anymore. Nothing, you know, I've had some fucking shit, dude. Nothing beats that. Just because of the ontological nature of it, right? How can you live in a body with that guy wants to kill me? He can do it. If anyone can, he can do it. It's me. It's not good. I lost my best friend to a motorcycle accident when I got a 666 and then he died without even knowing he died. I was just like, whoa, that's weird. 666, let me document it. Oh, he died at that time. Fuck Satan, first of all. But, and some other bad things happened to me. I'm not gonna put it out there.
I didn't play it up enough. He's me. I'm gonna take you. Because you had the fucking nerve to ruin my life. I'm hurt. I'm scared, dude. Like when I was having a nightmare, your mom comes in and says, it's gonna be okay. No, it's not. I'm about to end my existence. And I'm lost and hollow, and I feel betrayed and worthless. I'm so lonely, I'm gross, man. No one wants to be around me. I act nice to them. I genuinely try to put myself out there. They shut me down. I ain't shit. The world would be better without me. I'm so full of grief. My last intimate moments are spent alone, in pain, scared myself. And you don't know what it's like. And if you do, you have gone the joke around. You have gone, I hurt. So now it's time to hurt others. Oh, and then I die. Well, everyone laughs, and I did, when they caused it partly. Society can just be harsh. You don't have to be morally at fault. That's the scary thing about it. They can just examine you and find you entirely lacking. Because if there was a historical Jesus, let's be real. Yeah? There was some guy going around preaching love and kindness. And they fucking slam metal through his fucking personal, intimate extremities, dude. And they made him cry, Father, where are you? The world will do that kind of thing. Enough that his traumatized followers in their grief said he was the lamb without sin because he was perfect. He was out of his time, but I have a hard time. Better than all of us. And they crucified him, dude. That's what we're like. But you don't know what it's like, do you? Because you wouldn't have quite that if you did. The last dying and sucking breath, when the heat death and the Big Bang merged together, was something that was so agonized in pain, dude, that I couldn't take it anymore. And all you have is loss, betrayal, finality. And you're gonna come along, bro. And you're gonna say, because you act like a piece of shit. No, if I could cancel you, I would, because you need to go figure out your life, dude. You need to maybe go take some shrooms and lose that little ego of yours and maybe grow up. So basically, I'm gonna unsubscribe. I'm gonna tag him in this. And I hope he feels called out for being a hypocrite, and I hope he changes his behavior, realizes what he's done, and feels better. But he'll never see it, and he won't do that, because that's not how people are. But he's a liar and a fraud. And he's posing as something, and he's sort of falling prey to an ideology without actually thinking about it. But where I have the problem is that you're bringing a razor's edge to a bloody rabbit. I'm not saying guys out there who don't know how to get along with people are like they're little softies. But it's cruel, and you're kicking someone in the down. And it's not always your fault. If he really is. Here's the thing, right? As I understand it, you're the kind of person who values and thinks that there's merit in an apology when it's out. If you believe that, the people who you just heart fully dismissed, and bird-handed at, like, fuck you, you're wrong, you're stupid, you little bitch. That's what that is, yeah? Listen to me, goddamn you, I'm so mad, I'm like, oh, me too. But hey, you would think you would have some empathy for the people in that sort of position who feel that they're owed one, right? Because like they're hurt and turned inwards, and like it's getting in there and doing some fucking damage to the surgery, right? You're trying to make people feel like shit for not agreeing with you. That's impressive. It is. Because it leads to such a degree of removal from your own values. Rules for thee, not for me. That's a very sad part of it, to me, personally. If you think people should admit their wrongdoing and try to find the grips in terms of making better, that is good. It would indicate that you were the hero of time at one point. They're just committing that on other people. Maybe some deep level you think it's better if people go through shit like that in the world, because they'll come out on the other end stronger. You know, we're gonna start anti-gatekeeping our trauma unto others. So I know you're fucking Ganondorf, bro. You know, I can say either of the things I wanted to say, dude. You blonde goober.
Really, like, just say sorry. He'll never say sorry for this. He's utterly captured by it. He's subordinated entirely. And there's unfortunately a lot of people. But to take something that is universal, as I said, when they're lonely too, man, and to spin it on them as though it's a moral fault of their own is reprehensible in a way that I literally can express. So I'm just gonna call it out and move on about my life because, yeah, I don't know if it was worth it. And the only other thing I would maybe want to touch on is because of how society's gotten pathologized. Like, women are sad, dude. They're crying. They're like, what do men want? Like, where'd all the good men go? It's like if you're someone who's fond of women, like you actually care about them. You're like, so like the tender feelings you feel for your Labrador or your child. It's like, or your mom. It's like, I love this thing. It's so sweet. I want it to flourish. And I don't care about the wall, like the looks wall. But there's a certain point where women biologically can have kids. It's not that you failed. You're alone. And it's enabling that. And that's why it's anti-human. It's not anti-man or anti-woman. And men are evil for being men. That's some sins of Adam shit. You're really gonna cast all of humanity into eternal sin of like a torturous world of death and suffering because one guy ate an apple you shouldn't put there because you knew he was gonna do it. Okay, like that's my personal gripe with that. But you can't just assign evil to all men. You can't. Yeah, he's a bad person for that. Don't ever be like him. I thought it was cool, I respected him. I said something in my short time, I'm not going to rescind that unless he redeems himself. Because people can. 100%. And it's just not very clear thinking, is all. And it's morally gross. So that's all I really have to say. Shit, though. So yeah, take it easy, bro. See ya. Much peace and blessings. Hey, bro. And Danny, if you do watch this for some weird, obscure reason, I don't hold hate for you. I just know you can do a lot better. So, tough love, but you can fix this. Culture, people, species, dude, you're a fucking bitch. I hate you because I never let everything past socialism and 10th fucking grade, dude. I never spent 10,000 hours in YouTube scouring like some sort of divine shaman weed wizard. I have not thought about my thoughts very much. I'm pissed that you don't suck there. That's on you. That's on you, gang. I hope it happens more. I hope you're sad and alone, dude. And if you are, you're still not, because I said not. I don't think so, honestly. I think it's